Good evening. Today is the Monday, Monday, the 17th of November, 2025. This show this evening will focus on two aspects. I attended a panel discussion last week, the state of the Black family, with a focus on mental health. That'd be the first part of the show. Then the second segment will consist of two of my guys I have much respect for. I've been knowing Keith Bates since the age of, I think about 8, and he was 9, or I was 9, he was 8. And I've been knowing Harry Todd since our days out at the Cranbrook Rises Up with Bound program back in the late 70s. So been knowing both of these guys for over 40 years, and I consider them to be not just amazing friends, but some amazing brothers. Me and Keith Bates grew up in the same neighborhood back in the day when the village meant something. His mom wouldn't have a problem whipping my behind. I get home and, I tell my mom and dad that Miss Bates, gave me a whipping. They'd call her thank you, then pull out the belt themselves. We don't have it anymore right now. But again, that's part of, the state of the Black family that was the event last week put on by new Omega chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And happy Founders Day to the men of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, founded today, the 17th of November in 1911. And so I want to give a shout out to them. But, as I start, I give both of you an opportunity to introduce yourselves to the public. A lot of people know who both of you are. But for those that do not, this is an opportunity to introduce yourselves or reintroduce yourselves to the public domain. I'll start with you, Harry Todd.
Eric, thank you so much for your kind words. Hello, Keith Bates. Hello, listeners and viewers. I'm Harry Todd. I'm born and raised in Detroit with Cass Tech. As Eric said, we're proud hub guys. That really expanded my ability to connect with the outside world through literature, reading, words. It was an opportunity to be around a lot of different kids from around the metro area and just expand my horizons, literally, to upward bounds, right? Later, Cass Tech, I mentioned Cass Tech High School, Western Michigan University. I am in the insurance business since the last 32 years or so. I focus on buy, sell, key person, life insurance, estate planning. My job is to disinherit the IRS. If I do my job well, your family won't get that letter 9 months after the surviving person dies, and they'll be able to live their life with the plan that your mom, dad, grandparents, or whoever set up with me to make sure the IRS won't take your money and then inflict their will upon your estate. But the thing that really gives me joy is being the founder of the Jive Turkeys Detroit. And that's why I have our logo up there, because it's not about me. I might be the person behind it at one time, or am behind it, but it's about the mission. The term Jive Turkeys back in the 70s was a derisive term that was for a person with ill repute, low morals and ethics. And when I founded the organization back in 2018, I wanted to kind of have a play on words to take a negative term and turn it into something good for the community. And man, we've grown from 2018 to now, Eric and Keith and your listeners. We're doing over 3,000 families, and we have a semi truck full of goodies that we're picking up on Saturday morning, and we'll be distributing them later on that day, Saturday so we've been incredibly blessed with some amazing partners, but it's just the community out that's been outpouring. But I tell you honestly, and I've said this before, I would love to put the Jive Turkeys Detroit out of business. I don't want to be in this business of being a purveyor of food and helping people out. Not that I don't want to help. I don't want there to be the need.
Right.
So that's what I mean, put myself out of business. I want this greatest country in the world to be able to successfully make sure that all our babies, children, families have something in their stomach to eat. And I'm gonna go to the gates of St. Peter working on that end. So that's my introduction. Thank you for having me.
And throughout the show, I will be, introducing or mentioning our viewers and their comments. I'm gonna say good evening to Jill Sheridan, Tamika Rainey, Angela Browder, and there will be others. I don't have. I'm on YouTube watching, and as it is streaming live, so I don't have access to Facebook, but there are those on Facebook as well. And also, one of the things that both myself and Harry have in common, he's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. I mentioned Omega Psi Phi and their organization today for their Founders Day, and he is the immediate past president of the Gamma Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, which is the alumni chapter in Detroit. I was Mark, which was president of Kappa Alpha Psi Detroit alumni chapter from 2015 to 2017. So that's something else that both myself and Harry have in common when it comes to being in leadership roles and understanding what manifesting those type of roles are all about. And with that, let me move it on to you, Keith Bates. Reintroduce yourself. I mean, Bingo, Hoss. I mean, you got a bunch of nicknames that, a lot of people thought the community know you by. And, give a brief introduction before we get into this conversation about the state of the Black family.
Very beautiful. Well done, Mr. Harry. Very beautiful. Well done. I'm going to start off just being real. Name is Keith Bates. The nickname is Bingo. I'm a graduate of middle school. I go back there, man, because I got so many great folks at Miller Middle School, Detroit Southwestern, and San Diego College.
How you gonna forget Murray Wright, bro? I mean, come on.
All right. You know what? I better, because somebody listen. I attended Murray Wright 2 years, matter of fact, 79 to 81. I had great times there, and then had some great relationships built from that. Right. And then I attended Southwest from 81 to 1983. I'm a married father of 4, very much a community person. I work at General Motors. I got 22 years employment at General Motors. I've been coaching in the Detroit public school system 28 years. This will be my 28th year. I'm in Martin Luther King High School, coaching basketball. And I'm also a director of a nonprofit organization called Change Makers. And myself, like Harry, man, my thing with, if I could go quick with that, Change Makers is something that came about over the past, of course, about 3 or 4 years. And it was really who I was personally anyway, just being engaged and helping people in our community, not just talking about it, being about it. So that's just a little bit about me. And my engagement is constant. So I'm driven with the coach and me to get other people involved, and I always tell them it's enough for everybody to help.
Hey, Eric, can I jump in? Can I say, I heard Keith say something that's very interesting to me. Keith, I'm a fellow Miller Middle School alum.
Yes, right. Yeah.
I mean, man, Dr. Davis, Davis, man, come on, man, Mr. Seck, we had the best swim pool in the city.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I heard that, man. I had to say something,
Yeah, those guys raised us, man. Those are some great guys. They were real men back in the day.
Absolutely. I just wanted to throw that in there.
And that's a good segue to bring that up, Harry, because last Thursday we attended the event, the State of the Black Family, and me and you had a sidebar conversation prior to the event starting, and I'll just speak to that and you can state your feelings on it. And one of the things that was mentioned is, why are we focusing so much on us as if we are the only demographic group that have issues? But you don't hear state of the Jewish community, state of the Hispanic community, state of the white community, state of the German American community, state of the Middle East American community. And that's one of the things that we talked about before the show started, before the panel discussion started last week. But why do you think there's such an emphasis on us focusing on us? And at the end of the day, the panel discussion was one of those events where those of you all that were on the panel, those of us that was in the audience, it was like the choir preaching to the choir.
Yeah. So, we had that conversation, and it's always it has troubled me that, are we so ingrained dysfunctional that we always have to talk about our problems? Don't get me wrong. I understand that there are concerns, but there are concerns in every community, as you mentioned. And sometimes when you keep talking about something, it makes it you get more energy to it. You know, it's a very fine line. Are there issues? Yes, but are those issues just unique to us? Is child neglect unique to us? Is divorce, drug abuse, alcohol abuse unique to us? No, I'm not claiming all that on behalf of the black people. You know, we are a percentage of this population. But even back when I was in college, man, gentlemen, we had symposiums on the male-female relationship. And I know we were college kids, we didn't know what we were saying, but we talked about it. And even back then, I was like, is there a cottage industry that we have to exacerbate a problem so that we can have throw band-aids at it to fix a problem without ever going to a solution? I mean, I know Eric Brown he and I are preaching to the choir. If we don't focus, the ills of our community start with lack of education.
Yes, sir.
Education it's not going to end all your woes, your highs and lows, ups and downs, but it's going to make your life a little better. And we have to, as Eric is steadfast, we'll get those fourth graders, third and fourth graders. There's studies. If we don't get them out third and fourth grade, we've lost them.
Yeah.
And we have to focus on and then stop looking at these babies as a profit center. I said in a symposium last week, poverty is profitable.
Those are profitable industry, without a doubt.
And it's in areas that we drive by, think is no opportunity there. Somebody from another community says, for example, I drove by a business that was on Livernois going south before you get to the lodge. It used to be maybe like a drive-through like Burger King or something like that. It's boarded up, it's next to some other stuff. There were people taking pictures of it. I told my son, watch in 3 weeks, that's gonna be a Coney Island. I drove by it. I've driven by that maybe 100 times, or everybody else. But why does everybody else see opportunity in our community, but we don't?
Right. You were exactly right. That used to be a Burger King. I know exactly what you're talking about. And one of the things that I just said is a profitable industry. Just think about that for a moment. How it's being poured in industry. But that's exactly what it is. I saw the documentary 2 weeks ago, Poverty Inc. And it spoke about the poverty in Africa, Haiti, and it was one more country. India is one more country. They are now currently filming an American version of Poverty Inc. And guess what city is very prominently figured and presented in that American version of Poverty Inc.?
Does it start with a D?
It starts with a D. And it amazes me that abject poverty has been a subject of consternation in the city of Detroit for years. Currently has the worst poverty rate for children. And then people want to act like everything is okay. So that's why I applaud what you're doing, Harry. I applaud what you're doing, Keith, because as one of the comments in the comment section stated about how important of a conversation this is that we're focusing on this evening. That comes from Miss Sheila, who's a regular viewer and listener to all the platforms of the Detroit Black and White channel. She's exactly right. These are the conversations that we have to have. We can't keep glossing over the problems because we know what the problems are. We need to move to the stage of solutions.
To her question, and because I'm from the East Side, right? Born and raised on the East Side. Because of divorce, my parents, we had a house on East Side and West Side. And as a true Black person in Detroit, my brother and I, we stayed at my great grandmother's house during the week. That's where we went to school, 3643 East Vernon Highway. Okay, 3643 East Ferdinand Highway. I went to Bunch Elementary and then Miller. My mother worked. My dad lived on the west side. We two loving parents, but they worked. So my grandmother's like, hey, we got them. But that house has been the beacon of tranquility in my family for decades. So it was nothing unique for us to be at my great grandmother's house. That's how I grew up. They fed us every day. We went to school from there. And talk about the state of the black family. I'm piggybacking on her question. The question, the black family like, hey, those boys ain't gonna be by themselves somewhere else. While mama go to work, whatever. No, send them over here. They gonna go to school from here. And they didn't take no money from my mother or father, but it was just the family structure was there. I came home, great grandma was there. If I came home late, I was playing basketball at at Franklin Wright every day. I knew to get my butt home before a certain time.
Right, right.
But I had structure. I wasn't out there. I had structure. So that's where that black family, man. And I'm gonna tell you, it's kind of like I don't use it make it like a joke, but when we lost that grandmother and that grandfather presence in those houses, say, hey boy, where you going? Let me see those eyes. Who are you with? Who's outside? The parents were busy working, maybe somewhere, but you had that grandmama, man, in that house who running things, making sure you said your food on the table and your clothes was ironed and stuff like that, man. That's, man, we miss those grandmamas, man.
Yes,
those strong black women who didn't have much, but they raised them kids and they took care of business, man.
And that's a nice segue. And I'm not sure if you can see the screen, Keith, because G Money Hollywood, who's an Michigan State grad and a regular to my show as well, he speaks to the fact about the state of the black family is at an all-time low. We need to convert to the mid-60s and the mid-70s. I talked about earlier how if I did something over in the gas home, your mom saw me, she could give me a whoop and I get home. That's what the family's about. Your mom called my mom and dad like, this is what Eric did. This is what his twin brother Derek did, Randy or Gordon. And we had to deal with it when we got home as well. So with regard to that, Keith, what's your perspective on the state of the black family and the continuous conversation about it? Because the next comment speaks to what Harry was talking about. We'll get to the next comment in a minute, but what's your perspective on this, Keith?
My perspective, I'm gonna go off of just my coaching in my last 28 years of watching the change. And Harry mentioned a key word, man, is structure. I'm in the urban environment dealing with urban issues, right? And what I tend to look at it, we just said how our parents and how our people would just look out after us. No, we don't want to keep just saying the same thing, but most of the people are starting to just turn their heads to the kids. I'm seeing it every day. So, and then when you're stern and you're trying to put something instill something into the kids, they look at you as something that's you're an obstacle. You understand what I'm saying? So everything that Harry said is basically true. I don't want to be redundant and repeat it over and over, but I see it every day in coaching at the high school. I see things, and I tell people, I say, you really want to know what our kids really going through? Come visit a high school, any local urban high school. And I'm saying there's some great things happen. I don't want to sit up here and say it's not, but then you can get a general idea of what our future is going to. You can get a general idea.
But then all we hear about is, with all the issues that Detroit has, and Karen Winston brings up a good point, all we hear about is a comeback. And I always ask people, what exactly are you defining as a comeback? Look up the word in the dictionary, and Webster will definitely have a different definition of what the perception is. So any one of you want to address or tackle Karen Winston's comment, and thank you for joining us this evening, Karen, about in Detroit, a city that is struggling with regards to poverty, but there's this common narrative about a comeback. What does that mean to both of you?
You want to go?
I'll jump in quickly. That sounds as asinine as "Make America Great Again." Wow. I'm not diminishing her question. No, I'm just saying, but I'm putting "comeback" in air quotes. It's like, comeback from where? America was the arsenal of democracy in the 40s, right? You remember his old statement: if GM catch a cold or something like that, Americans catch pneumonia, right?
Exactly. I remember that. I heard
It,
that.
it was something like that, right? And but remember, Detroit had 2 million people at that time. Detroit's a large city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 million residents. Detroit was a tale of two cities then. Let's not forget. You had certain areas, you had strong Polish enclaves, you had strong Jewish neighborhoods, you had strong affluent white neighborhoods, you had the black folks in 2.2 miles. The vast majority of them were in 2.2 miles, now called Black Bottom, or was called Black Bottom, or 375,
Yeah.
right? Living, but having a thriving community in those 2.2 miles. You had your own funeral directors, doctors, you had lawyers, you had
Speakeasies and jazz clubs.
speaking, you had
Yeah.
everything, but you had a level of safety and commonality that we was all in this ish together. And a social scientist can go on and on. And I understand how everybody wanted to live the American dream like the Jeffersons and moved on up. But I'm gonna tell you, integration has been a very not always positive aspect of our life. We want better for our kids. I get it. We want education for our better education. Better, I get that. You have the right to do that. But on the other hand, it has fractured the black community. Where in the days that we grew up, I knew everybody on the block. Everybody knew me. I knew them.
Exactly.
And on the east side, man, the east side is like his own little thing because we had a house on Burns, the people on Fisher. We knew all of them because my mom and them grew up over there on Iroquois. So everybody knew me, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
And but when we all dispersed because we got a new job and we wanted to buy a house. We didn't want to live with our 12 cousins and grandmom in the house. So we wanted to buy a house on the northwest side. I get that. But then we're all immigrants, so to speak,
Ooh.
moving to a new place, trying to find our niche that we don't have. That's why it was so important for people on Sundays to go back to mom and them house for Sunday dinner. That's why it's
Yeah.
important to take your son. You live in Canton or somewhere, man.
Yeah.
I've heard people, we're going to Detroit like it's a freaking field trip and get a haircut on Saturday morning. I'm taking my son to Detroit today. Man, come on. Like this guy forgot where Detroit was. So we lost a lot in that integration. It's like something peeled away off our skin as we maybe ingratiate ourselves to other communities. We lost that level of blackness that we had deep inside.
I would totally agree to you. And just like and man, that was well versed also. And then I know that we were talking about building the black family. Man, we could go on and on with that. And it definitely, like everybody always said, it does start at home. So and again, beating a dead horse by saying something negative is not gonna get it. And what it takes is positive men like yourself. And I applaud Eric. I want to give you a lot of kudos, man. I watched how, if I could just say it, I don't want to say you ruffle the feathers, but when you say things and people be uneasy with it, but it's the truth and a lot of it's facts. And we uneasy with that. And that's a part of the branch that's broken too. We don't want to know, we don't want to take the truth. We want to just be like, So I appreciate Eric, you continue to do that. And like you said, what we doing in the black community, man, it's all right. If we waiting on somebody, again, waiting on somebody to come save us. That's my thing. There's no one coming to save us. If anything, and I don't want to say it negatively, I think it might be coming to do more harm. So we have to really start gathering together and putting our resources together and helping each other. That's pivotal. That's pivotal. And again, and building back to black financial wealth. I saw a thing on TikTok where, man, everybody in the neighborhood, it was funny how people don't live in the neighborhood, how they were profiting so well. When you look at the gas stations, you look at the stores, you look at everything, and we don't even have the mom and pops no more. Then they come, they take the financial wealth out the city, and then they leave. You understand what I'm saying? So that was hell of it to me also.
I mentioned a point last week in the symposium. We wake up with the money and somebody else takes it home.
That's
And not to disparage, because understand these are some hardworking people who, it ain't easy working in the gas station or the party store. But if we can call it, let's call a thing. Our parents did not raise us to work in a gas station.
no.
I mean, and to own a party store. They might have said, well, go to college, put a blue suit on, white shirt, get a job at GM, Ford, Chrysler, blah blah blah, and you got the American dream.
Yeah.
That's what the American dream was. Work at IBM, Chrysler, IBM, whatever, Xerox. That was the American dream. Oh, you want to do what? You want to be you want to own a car wash? You want what? Why I send you to the school to be a car wash owner? Dad, you heard me. I said owner.
Right.
No. But we have to instill in our people, it's a doggone shame, man, that if I want to get a fish sandwich, I have to go to people from Yemen to get a
That don't
you-buy
eat.
wheat fry. And don't get me wrong, they work in their butts off. 10 of them in the store. They might live together, but guess what? Each of them's gonna get a store somewhere, and they'll pick the worst store
Yeah.
location, spend $35,000, pool their money together, open that sucker up, get the
Yeah.
approvals, get some lazy fish, put a couple cubes of ice in there, and sell it to our people, man. And then they will grow, and get 3 of those stores. But do we put each other on? Do we have people to say, hey, man, you got your dream. What you want to do, young blood? I want to do this. I'm going to
Yeah.
put you down. Do we have that ability to trust each other to do that? I know in the day, you could go to certain people. They're like, now, there might have been some, let's say, maybe not exactly the most cleanest money involved at times.
Right.
But those men, they sit you down. They can put you on, though, to something that's legal and making a difference in the community.
And that brings up a great point from G Money Hollywood. And you both touched on this. He stated that values include community involvement, look out for one another, promoting marriage, reducing abortion, being truly active in the community, empowering all children, pushing education and respect. And to your point, Keith, I've been how I've been for a while. That fluff. I just don't have time for it, and one of the greatest lines of a movie that I enjoy and I watch over and over again is A Few Good Men. Colonel Jepson told it like it was, you can't handle the truth. And that's what's wrong with our people. We can't handle the truth. We like to be coddled and pacified. And everybody want to be in a situation where they want to be told what they want to hear as opposed to what they need to hear. I mean, time out for that. We have to get used to being in a situation of understanding the need to be told what needs to be said. We get too comfortable being pacified, and depends on who say it. That's how people receive it. And it just bothers me. Even when you have people from all over the country coming over here coming to the city of Detroit, promoting someone that's running for office. I mean, come on, you don't even live. You don't know what's going on in Detroit. You don't know what's going on in Michigan. Keep things local. We have to get more into doing that. So I want to thank all the viewers for, watching tonight. And that's what we always do on Detroit in Black and White. We want you to like, subscribe, and share so you can send this out to other people that need to be listening. Just like last week at the event, brother Harry, those that needed to be there weren't there.
Right. I read G Money's comment, and I want to make a comment about this comment. First of all, thank you. Unfortunately, those words would be used as a GOP talking point. And it's nothing about politics. It's about values. Why should we give them the upper hand about family values? What G Money wrote is what we were all about in the 50s and 60s. It had nothing to do with Democrats, GOP, politics. This is what we were raised under. And it's a shame that talking points have been they've been kidnapped, if you will, by politicians and then they run major platforms on. So now you have on the other side that might say, well, how can you be against family values? Well, I can't say anything about that because my opponent is talking about it more so. Family values should be unique. Nobody should want more abortions. You know what I mean? No one should want that. But I think
Right.
you don't want to restrict it for women in need or situations or the choice. But the value system of Black folks was based upon the things that G Money wrote in the comments.
And thank you for joining us this evening, Mr. Duckett. He's a regular to the show. Then Mr. 1213, he has a comment that I want to get to and then come back to another comment by G Money. One way to uplift the state of the Black family is these young people either abstain from sex or use protection when engaging to prevent couples from having children they cannot afford or raise. To your point that you just made, Harry, it's like these people are reading. Well, you all are reading each other's minds because a lot of what's being said is on you all's mind, and as well as the minds of the viewers. So that falls right in line with what you just got through talking about, Harry.
Values are values. I mean, it's just, I don't want to blame social media because it's too easy to blame social media.
Right.
It's like the dog ate my homework. It's just,
and you don't even have a dog.
Right. And then the whole thing, common sense. Hell, common sense ain't always common, we have to understand, you have to call a thing. And we have to demand accountability. And the first way we have to demand accountability is making sure that our babies, our Black boys and girls, grow up in a safe, healthy environment and have access to education and opportunities. Because if their eyes are open, not through what's on a cell phone or a computer screen, but through books, and language, and reading, and hell, even traveling. I mean, do kids even read books anymore? With pages, or they just hit a touch screen?
Exactly.
I mean, we have to start from square one. And I'm gonna tell you, if I had Zuckerberg money or whatever you call it money, gentlemen and listeners, I would take let's say an area like Marygrove. I know it's already doing something over there. I would have a boarding school in the city of Detroit with 400 or 500 kids, and choose them. I'm not choosing the A students. I'm going after the C students and D students. The A students are going to be okay.
Right. It's so interesting you bring that up, Harry, because for the longest, I have been saying one of the greatest assets in the city of Detroit would be an all-male academy that's a border school.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
Marygrove should have been that before it became the school of Marygrove. I know a lot of people have their issues with former Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick, but he's one of the ones that proposed an all-male school that was a border school. We got the experience in the summer out of Cranbrook, Harry, so we know what it's like to have people all in one environment, dorms, classrooms, recreation. It just, we weren't sure enough, but under the same token, we understood the power of what education is and what the power of knowledge is. And I still am a major proponent of an all-male border school in the city of Detroit. It don't have to be Detroit. It could be Flint. It could be Saginaw. It could be Benton Harbor. But that's something that's needed.
We would be creating a legion, an army of some amazing young men every year who are. And I'm gonna tell you, there's gonna be some people rough around the edges. That's fine. Man, everybody.
That's
every time it wasn't shiny. Every time it wasn't shiny. That's fine. And this is not gonna be no boot camp. It's gonna be led with love and empowering. Let them. Man, I think we need to let these babies know somebody cares about them. They're so hard on the eyes. They don't. Their eyes are dead sometimes. They don't want to look you in the eye, and they don't want to. They don't know if they think they can trust anybody. And that would be my dream. If I had all the money in the world, that's what I would put it on.
And it's very possible, Harry and Keith, you have a high school in Georgia, in the Atlanta area. I think it might be Conyers, Georgia. Charles R. Drew Senior High School. Only been open about 4 or 5 years. Co-ed. But what's amazing about this school, they have over 30 black men that have significant roles, from principal to not just coaches, but also teachers. You have over 30 black men in this school. The school had a first-time graduation rate back in 2022. I think the graduation rate was about 71%. The graduation rate now is up to 87%.
Wow.
So when you see something that looks like yourself, I'll never forget. Again, I tell this story all the time, and I did one of my 5K run walk with literacy awareness. I was talking to a fraternity brother of mine, and there was a young lady. She was a fifth grader because she was 10. She was a fifth grader. And me and my frat brother talking, all of a sudden we hear some sniffling. And I'm like, okay, you all right? And when I have my 5K events, all the books that I have that are given away free feature people that look like me and you, Harry, on the cover. Look like our moms and grandmothers on the cover, our sisters. So I'm like, okay, you all right? What's wrong? And I bring this up all the time because we're so quick to take out our phones when someone is fighting or doing something foolish.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was an opportunity for me or my frat brother to record something that was so authentic and genuine. Because when I asked her what was wrong with her, why are you crying? Now, this is the fifth grader. Her response was, I have never seen so many people that look like me on a book.
Wow.
That was her response.
Wow.
And so books I give away are free. So she was so enamored by the books. This is a 10-year-old. She's taking our money to give a donation. I said, no, you good. Whatever book you want. If you want to take 20, take them. You know, this is a 10-year-old. Saying how pleased she was with what I was doing. And it's never about me. It's, again, the organization is literacy awareness. It's about bringing awareness to literacy in the Black community, because it makes no sense that a city like Detroit that want to talk about being a world-class city, but you have a superintendent bragging about a less than 1% increase in the 3rd, 4th grade reading level. And you're still 66% below the state average.
Ooh.
You know,
hey, Eric, since you brought up this, I have a novel concept. I will put my money behind it. Let's find 100. Let's start with 100 houses of people who'll be willing to put, like, you have those book shared
book nooks. They're called book nooks.
Yeah, what do you call it? Book
nooks.
Book nooks. Let's start with 100. Let's see if we can find 100 people. We'll find ways to create them or buy the wood or whatever. I'll buy the wood or something. But we can start somewhere. I mean, in other communities, I see them all the time. There's one down the street from my house.
And you're in Grosse Pointe. I'm in Canton. There are a plethora of them right here in Canton that people put books in, and adults, kids, they could just go. I mean, no fee. If you see a book that interests you, you can just take it. You don't have to bring it back. The only thing that they do ask that you, if you take a book, bring a book or two.
I would be willing to put my money where my mouth is on that. And I would love to collaborate with you. I mean, I know if you probably can't dig in the wintertime, but we could work with that project, man. And after the spring thaw,
the spring thaw. That's a great idea.
And then while the kids are off for summer, at least at the minimum 100 locations around the city of Detroit, there'll be a book nook.
And what we would try to do is reduce that summer slide. That's what it's called. In base, you're in education. You know that. Yep. That time period between the last day of school and the first day of school where not many kids are picking up a book. They're picking up the game consoles and the game handheld devices, but they're not picking up books. So you bring up a very great idea. And I'm not sure if I shared with you. I thought I sent it to you, Harry. I may have mentioned it to you. If I did, my apology, but I thought I sent it to you already. myself and Kelly Garrett, whom
Yes.
talking about an initiative, Adopt a School, Invest in the Future. And that is trying to get all of us that are educated, and I use the word educated with air quotes because not everybody went to college, got degrees, or educated. They just attended college.
Right.
But we owe it to society to do our part. It doesn't matter if you have a kid or not in any of these schools, but we have to be in front of these kids, Black men and Black women, to show them what their future can look like. And that's the novel idea behind Adopt a School, Invest in the Future, because we can't keep talking about it. We have to be about it. And those that know me, I walk it like I talk it. Even when somebody try and come back at me, well, you don't live in Detroit. Well, damn, I was born and raised in Detroit. Every last one of my elementary, middle school, and high school diplomas or certificates says DPS.
Right.
So people need to quit worrying about where somebody lives, because I tell somebody in Detroit all the time, I can guarantee you I'm not a resident there, but I do more for Detroit than what you do, and you live there.
Absolutely.
Hey, Eric, and if I may add, that's a lot. And that was some great points that you guys pointed out. The organization Changemakers that I'm a part of that started out of Minneapolis. It started out in Minneapolis, and they're doing some of the things that you're talking about. Started doing the George Floyd movement. And my CEO is Trayon Pollard. So they adopt schools. They do that. The reading programs. They do a lot more so than just be a nonprofit, just giving food away and things of that sort. So they community engagement. That's why I say everybody, just 1% of everybody could just do something like that. That would help too. Again, we can't consistently just keep waiting on somebody to bail us out and answer all our questions. It's not going to happen.
And keep talking about change makers, Keith, and your event coming Saturday, and then we segue to Jive Turkeys as well.
Yeah, Changemakers started during the George Floyd movement, man. And anybody know about Minneapolis during that time? My CEO, Trayon Pollard, they were getting ready to burn that city down. I mean, it was getting ready to be like Watts. My CEO, Trayon Pollard, was able to gather 500 men. 500 men. Got to go look at wepushforpeace.org. It'll tell you a story about it. And I'm telling you, the business owners got together after they did some damage, but he saved probably the community $10 billion. $10 billion. So a lot of it was Jeff Bezos, a lot of the big billionaire business owners got together and wanted to know who this guy was. They looked him up. Man, from there, we went off to branch off into contracts. And if you go to the Whole Foods in Detroit, right there on Mac and John R., the security team in there is Changemakers. So really not security officers. They're security engagement. So we're not, I don't like people call them security guards because we do stuff in the community, so it's more than just security guard. We're not there to somebody steal a sandwich. We're not there to choke somebody eat food. We're not doing it. We're trying to get to the bottom of the problem, see how we can help that individual. That's what we train. That's how I train all my guys. How can we help? How can we get to the bottom of the issue? And a lot of people don't want, like you said, a lot of people don't want to do that. And that's why I joined this organization myself, because we're located in 5 different states, actually Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, New York, Wisconsin, and coming to Pennsylvania. So we're doing the same thing. And I said the movement is positive. And I'm glad that Eric, if I can mention one more thing, Eric.
Keep going.
Well, I can mention one more thing. I want to give you some kudos, man, for even just having me with your platform and having me allow me to talk on your show. But I want to say something about you and how people like you inspired me. So I don't want the flowers. I want to give them to you. I remember the day you called me and we talked about a guy living up under the viaduct on I-75. You remember that?
Yeah, I-75 in 12th Street.
You called me. You say, Bates, we both have plenty busy schedules. We got to do something. Like I'm gonna have this event. You say, no, we got to do something now. I went with you. I watched. We both pulled our cards out. Man, I'm just giving you flowers. A lot of people don't understand how this goes. A lot of people are not gonna do this. Eric, we went and dressed that guy, housed that guy, fed that guy. And then not only that, what did you do? You followed up every day. Now that takes a special person. I'm talking about you, Eric Brown. I ain't talking about Keith Bates. That takes a special person to do that. And that's when I say, this is my guy. Now, we got 50-year friendship. I wanted to mention that because if people can look at it, they think of a radical comments and this and that. I wanted to give them an inclement idea of who you really are. And that's who you are, because I know. And I just wanted to add that. I wanted to give you those flowers.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Again, 50 years of friendship and people. When I tell people I have friends that I have still been in communication with, they'd be like, wow. But that's part of how the neighborhood we grew up in. We grew up in a neighborhood where the community and the village meant something.
Yes, it
And
did.
even playing sports, we all were excelled in various sports: basketball, baseball, football, track, tennis. It was just the community we grew up in. And, you know, family meant something.
Yes.
Family meant something. I mean, I'll call you, I love you. I'll call you brother from another mother
That's right.
because,
That's right.
I remember it was your mom's birthday and we happened to be at the same place at the same time. It's like, this Eric, remember Eric? Then you ran off the list of the Brown brothers and the sisters, well, I only have one sister. And that just, it brings back memories when, even though I had not seen your mother in quite a long time, all you had to do is list some things and say, oh, okay, I remember, and then of course everybody the sports, track and then, cram and all that, and having the ability to have those friendships. I mean, Marlon Reed was just back in town not too long ago to bury his young brother. And again, these are just relationships that have been built over the years that have sustained themselves. Yeah, we fight like family. That's what family do. But at the end of the day, the true testament of love, friendship, and family is being able to tell someone you might have an indifference, but you still gonna hug it out, slap it up, dap it up, and say I love you. And that's what's important. That's another thing that's important for the black family, particularly the black men. Black men have to learn how to say I love you more to each other. Black boys need to hear I love you. And I remember when I was in college, and I was down at Talladega College, and we had a symposium. And to say that the first time the words "I love you" was told to me came from a girlfriend, as opposed to my mom and dad, was in, your mom and dad loved you, but just for whatever reason, it's not a common level of 3 words that's said in the black family. We got to get beyond that, particularly with regards to black men. Black men say, well, I love you. That's feminine. No, that's masculinity, fool.
It's masculinity. Yes, it is.
Like that.
Yes, it is. I take that. That's a topic in itself.
Yep. And then with regards to Jive Turkeys, what was your motivation for this organization, Harry?
I want to say that was a profound segment there, gentlemen. I mentioned that in the symposium last week, that it's all about showing somebody you care, right? That you're important, that you're valid, that your presence is validated, your humanity is acknowledged. Too many times we are invisible to the world. We drive by places that we drive fast. We don't want to stop. We walk past people. We don't want to look at them in the eye. And those are our people. I don't want to be afraid of my people. I don't. So yeah, what's love got to do with it? A whole hell of a lot. And that's what was the impetus behind the Jive Turkeys Detroit. And I want to kind of back up because a lot of people don't know the beginning. The beginning was my mom, brother, and I used to volunteer at the Mother Waddle's warehouse that used to be on the east side on Gratiot.
Right.
We would be in there on whatever days, making boxes of perishables, food. That big warehouse is on Gratiot, and mom would drag us down there, and we would be there. So this is nothing new to me. And then later on, as an adult, I started adopting classes at Ralph J. Bunch Elementary, right there on Ellery Street. And it grew. They started calling me the Turkey Man. Now, this was before social media. This is in the 90s. But there were still some teachers there who knew me. So I was like, man, the neighborhood was changing daily. Used to be 12 houses on a block, then it was down to 7, down to 4, that kind of thing. The school was in disrepair. A lot of low morale. But the bottom line, I saw something. I was like, that was me back then. I was a shorty back then. Even though I never had to worry about food anxiety, but nevertheless, I wanted to do something. So I did that. I didn't have no goofy name, but the name Jive Turkeys came about at an encounter at a local grocery store in 2018 that I was in line with a family, a mom, a couple kids. And you know, how kids are like, hey, mom, can I get this and this? Mom's like, nah, put that back, put that back, put that back. So I privately, quietly mouthed to the cashier that, hey, they kind of gestured like, hey, you know, I got their groceries. And I did. Didn't acknowledge it. I didn't say anything to him. I just did it and left, right? And I felt great about that until I hit the threshold of leaving the store. I said, man, I did that for one family. What if I could be of help to more families? So I
Yeah.
shared the story on social media, and people were like, "Oh my God, Harry, wonderful! Let's do something. Let's do something." And I had to really step back sometimes, gentlemen, and realize it takes one person to start a movement.
Correct.
It's easier for people to say, "Wow, I want to be down. I want to join. I want to give money. I want to support. I want to get a T-shirt. I want a photo op. I want to da." But those people who said, "I'm going to do this," that's a special breed. And I'm not trying to like clap for me, but I had to step back and say, dang, I started this dang all thing. And it's grown to now a semi truck. So that's how it's grown. And even during COVID, we kept growing and kept growing. The need kept getting bigger and bigger. And we had to institute certain standards and level of organization, 501c3, paperwork, bank accounts, because it was basically a mom and pop funded by me and a bunch of Jive friends who were down for the cause. And we did it. And now we have a structure, we have a website, we have videos very smartly produced. We have uh, strategic partnerships with major Fortune 100 corporations. And I say, dang, the faith of a mustard seed has grown this organization to something that's known around the state of Michigan. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that, what we've accomplished. I still stand on, I want to put us out of business because I want the problem to be eradicated. But while the problem is still there, the Jive Turkeys Detroit will still be there to do our I call it, we like a SWAT team. We kind of swoop in, a flock of us, and we solve a problem. Then we move out and do other things. Like during COVID, when the gas prices were through the roof, we had the resources and we bought gas for the first like 400 people or something like that. You know, man, we were at the Davis Brothers Shell station on it was a black owned station at that time. It was on 7 Drive. We had cars wrapped down out of drive. And that was us. And understand, we don't take pictures with families. You're not going to see a picture of me smiling, kneeling down, giving a kid a turkey or a family a turkey.
Right, right.
That's nothing to be happy about.
But exactly.
I'm not happy to do that. I am honored to be able to assist, but I'm not going to be smiling and cheesing like, oh, look at me. No, we protect our person's dignity, their privacy, their humanity. Don't get me wrong. There are pictures on social media with families because the family has chosen to do that and share a story. But it is not something that we actively market and put out there as part of our, things that we do. But I'm just proud that we've grown so much, and we are supplying food throughout the state of Michigan, and that's a good thing.
And if you want to learn more about Jive Turkeys, the website is up on the screen, www.jiveturkeys with an S, Detroit.org. Again, www.jiveturkeysdetroit.org. And Harry has given me permission to also put his phone number. If you want more information about him and the organization, his number is 1-313-410-5655. 5755. Again, 313-410-5755. And then with regard to change makers, well, first of all, the giveaways will be Saturday, correct? Over at TV Lounge, which is at 2548 Grand River Avenue, starting at 12:30. And that's 11/22/25. The date, Saturday, November 22nd, 2025, TV Lounge, 2548 Grand River Avenue. One thing that's very important, people, and I cannot stress this enough: 1 turkey per car, and you must be in a car to receive a turkey, and it's on the first come, first served basis.
That's correct.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And then with regards to change makers, that will be taking place over in Cass Park, formerly known as the Cass Corridor area. And Keith Bates has given me the liberty to give out his phone number, which is 1-313-587-4957. Again, 1-313-587-4957. If you want to learn more about the Change Makers event taking place on Saturday. And donations for change makers can be made by way of Cash App. And Cash App is handled with a $ in front of it. And it's $ Eyes Ears LLC. Again, $ EYESEARS LLC. And give us some more information about Eyes and Ears, because I know it's your security firm that you run in collaboration with change makers, as well as give people, the audience, the listening audience, what will be given away this coming Saturday at Cass Park.
Let me start off about what we're going to be giving away. We'll be giving away free winter essentials. We'll be providing coats, hats, gloves, sleeping bags, hot food. And what it is together, we can warm Detroit, man. It's something that I take great pride in doing it. Again, I'm like Harry, it's no fanfare, man. And my thing with me, Harry, the other thing that I do is I hold other people accountable. People always come on my page and say, Bates, how can I help? I say, you ain't got to help me. Just come out and help yourself and help the others. That's my thing. It ain't about me. Let's help the others. We all just pitch again and say 1%, man, it'll go a long ways. So again, it'll be November 22nd on Saturday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. I got some special people. I gotta get these read these names out, man, because these guys been helping me so much. I got Chef Jeff Tony, I got Lieutenant Derek Johnson, Brother Dole Foster from the Masonic Grand Lodge, man, fellowship with us. Brian Walker, Terrence Wheeler. I got Whole Foods, holding them accountable. Whole Foods giving things to help the people, man. They, like, again, getting money out the city, what we put back in it, I'll be able to get out and sit down with the manager. Say, I need this to help the unhoused and the unemployed. John A. Robinson, Lee Montgomery, and last but not least, man, I can't mention, man, my wife, Cassandra Bates, man, been so special in how she actually she's behind the scenes. But man, when it comes to all the things that I need, and man, let me tell you,
she should be doing more than you. You hear me, Bates? I said, she not behind the scenes. She be doing more work than you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like Bates. Like,
no, you're wrong. You got to mention your mom too, because your mom be at all the events as well.
Yeah, and so basically, again, like what we just talked about, where did I get this from? It came from my village. I go back with Harry from the 70s. My mom used to have me out, and we didn't have much. Mother's Teresa Bates, and I look at her story. We didn't have much, and we had 3 pieces of chicken. My mom was the type of person, the kid came over, I'm looking at the kid eating 2 of my pieces of chicken. You understand? So that's where that came from. It was like, and then I would look and say, well, he just ate it. Like, give it to him. So, and that was instilled in me in a younger age. And I'm trying, as I coach and I fellowship with the young guys and I coach basketball with, I try to instill some of that in them. And they'll be out there with me too, so they can get a feel of what's really going on in the city, being able to help, and then seeing how it reciprocates.
Right. And as far as last parting words, because I cannot tell you how much I appreciate both of you all for taking time out of your busy schedules this holiday season, coming on the show to talk about your purpose, to talk about your ventures, to talk about your benevolence. So I'll start with you, Harry Todd. Any last parting words? And then you can, as soon as he finishes, you can speak, Bates.
Okay.
I want to say thank you to you. It's great being on the show with you, Mr. Bates. To your listeners, my parting words are, Let's care about people. Let's care. Let's show them intentionality. Let's uplift without regard from showing us doing so. What would Jesus do?
Wow.
That's all I got to say.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Harry.
Thank you.
I would come with and cliche, surround yourself with like-minded people. What I've come to find out in knowing a lot of people, man, we have a lot of people with a vast amount of resources that they don't use and they don't share. They keep them to themselves. And I think that's selfish. Share. Nothing makes you feel better. People say, Bates, can I help? Than see and helping someone, not just giving somebody. Man, sometimes you could just, I'm out there, it's 20 degrees air, you know that. And we listening too. Don't just give clothes and food away. Hear the stories. Try to help. I have no problem with that. Help. That person maybe just need that conversation. You can give them that conversation and you can show them how to get back on their feet. Then you really live the life. If you ain't doing that, I don't know what you're just existing. So love all.
And again, I can appreciate you two more. And as I always say, I just got through writing about this. You know, you want to make the city a better place.
Yes.
Take a look in the mirror and make that change. You know, without a doubt, Man in the Mirror is one of my all-time favorite records. And I think if there was a subliminal message with regards to that song, I would request that all the urban radio stations in Detroit play that on a 24-hour period, every hour on the hour in Detroit, because something has to give. We can't just keep sitting back talking about the problems when we can be the solutions, but the solution starts with change. And the one thing that's going to accentuate positivity, and as Miss Sheila said, loving oneself and loving somebody else, people got to change their mindset. So again, thank both of you for joining me this evening. I want to thank all the viewers for coming on to listen to the conversation. Very poignant words spoken by both of you, as I knew it would be. And again, I see for sure on Saturday, basically I'll be down there with you. And I'll stop by on Friday. I think that's when you do some of your stuff on Friday, Harry. I'll stop by on Friday to help you out then too as well.
I'll be there.
Thank you, brothers. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
All right, good evening. All right,
Thank you.
To the viewers, thank you all. God bless, and I'll see you next week on the 24th of November. Peace and love.
Love. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.